Let's look at what Alex Jones was saying.
There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding-dong.
What?
And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen. I never sucked any ding-dongs. But I'll tell you, if they were going to blackmail me to start World War III about one, I'd say, hey, I sucked a golf ball through a freaking garden hose.
Didn't you already tell Der Spiegel that?
No, the son of a bitch walked in there in my own office when I'd splattered stuff on myself and I was changing shirts. He goes, oh, that's a good shot. Let's get your shirts. And then he goes, I go, hey, have some of this chicken and sausage. So technically I said, Jones offered me his sausage. Yeah, give me a break, you son of a bitch. I like women, not men. And if I liked men, I'd be proud of it. I'd have a line of them. But I ain't ever been in bed with no man. I've been in bed with probably 300 women. And
this is why he's the GOAT, by the way. This is why he is irreplaceable. This is why he is irreplaceable as a figure on the right. He's just like the raw sexual charisma of Alex Jones. God damn, what a legend.
You sons of bitches sit there and you play these games, and I'm sick of it. There's no video of President Trump
sucking a ding dong. We know he's a chaser. Like that's proven. He is straight up a chaser. That's not fake. That's real. There's a real thing. It was right in front of us the whole time.
Inside the president's own party. Speaking to CBS Mornings, Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene said the president has made a mistake opposing the release of the full Epstein case files.
Just being very honest with you, it's something that I don't understand. I think it's a huge miscalculation, and I truly just stand with the women, and I think they deserve to be the ones that we're fighting for.
With Greene and a handful of other Republicans supporting it, the U.S. House is poised to vote next week on a plan requiring the Department of Justice to release those files.
They can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already.
A number of Epstein survivors sent a letter to Congress urging them to do so. The administration's handling of this investigation has been inconsistent all year. In February, the FBI said it would uncover any missing records. In July, the Department of Justice said they found no evidence of an Epstein client list or blackmail. And then on Friday, the Attorney General launched an investigation into Democrats, as recommended by the president. For CBS Saturday Morning, Scott McFarland, Washington.
One thing that happened, you know, I asked President Trump in the Oval Office about those criticisms of his administration from Marjorie Taylor Greene. We are now in the middle of witnessing a major blow up between the two of them. One that a lot of people probably predicted would or did not expect would ever happen, with the president attacking her and her now calling the president, saying that he is lying about her and that she believes this is all over him trying to bully other Republicans into not voting in favor of that discharge petition on the Epstein files this week. I wonder what you make of what's playing out.
It's like they put truth serum in the MAGA water cooler, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump are both condemned to tell the truth about the other. Everything each says is right. They are narcissists. Marjorie Taylor Greene is right that Donald Trump has no domestic agenda except to harm ordinary people, and Donald Trump is right that Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy. So it's useful information all around. But what I worry most about this and the Epstein files and all the things that Trump has tried to keep control of, escaping his control, is he has one big distraction in his hand, and I fear he may be about to deploy it. We are seeing in the Caribbean right now the largest buildup of U.S. naval forces in the region since the Cuban Missile Crisis. There is no plan. There's no authorization by Congress. There are no regional partners. It is not a war that should be fought in this way at this time. But one thing it would do is change the subject.
So you're worried that he could take action on a foreign policy move.
I'm going to do this one more time. Donald Trump, if you really want to change the discourse around this stuff, do socialized medicine. I promise it'll really piss off everybody. Okay? Nobody will talk about the Epstein stuff ever again, really. Everyone will talk about how, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. This is so unacceptable. How dare you do this? Socialized medicine, high-speed rail, socialized medicine, building a robust industrial base, free college. You can call it Trump care if you want. I'm just saying, if you really want a distraction, it's much better than bombing Venezuela. And it'll be an ongoing distraction too. Please distract us with that. Mr. President, please, I'm begging you. And it's a win-win because you get to destroy Obama's legacy. Think about how much you can own the libs and own Barack Obama. You get to destroy Obama's legacy and you get to build something that's even better than what Obama couldn't achieve. Only you can do it, Mr. President, please.
To distract from what's happening in Washington.
Yeah, I think that explains a lot of his foreign policy operations, but the forces are there. They've been pulled away from other theaters where they might be needed. They're building up to something. Again, they have no authorization. They have no allies. They have no goals. But boy, would it change the subject. And boy, does Donald Trump right now need a subject change.
Yeah, and we've seen what's been playing out. Obviously, the president was saying tonight he didn't know if he'd take that step. He wasn't sure. We know he's been briefed on options there. But on this, in and of itself, do you think that that is the reason he's criticizing Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, is because he doesn't want other Republicans coming out and what, we've told could be a huge snowball effect next week when Speaker Mike Johnson actually puts this on the floor, that a lot of Republicans could end up bucking the White House and voting for this?
I think he genuinely can't help himself. I don't know that Donald Trump has fully formed strategic plans. He has a lot of impulses. He's also testing the old magic. After one of the things that has happened after the elections in New Jersey and Virginia and elsewhere, and Georgia maybe most significantly, because there was an all-state race that Republican candidates lost, is a lot of Republicans have to be thinking, what about my future? I used to think the greatest hazard to my future might be that Donald Trump would criticize me, but maybe actually now he can't help me and might even hurt me. And that's a little bit of discipline lost. And Marjorie Taylor Greene may be the test case where a lot of less inflammatory Republicans are saying, if she gets away with this, we can all get away with it.
Yeah, and she's obviously someone who has been a huge advocate of his and very loyal to the president, especially after January 6th when everything happened. And obviously, no one can forget. She's
not a good actor. I mean, she's not a hero of the Republic, but she is somebody who may be just crazy enough to actually believe the things that Donald Trump says without believing them.
So a lot has happened tonight. Buckle up. Marjorie Taylor Greene is learning what it feels like to be on Trump's bad side. She has been one of the most vocal Republicans calling for the full release of the Justice Department's investigative files on Jeffrey Epstein. And now President Trump tonight is unendorsing. He is withdrawing his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene and writing on Truth Social that all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. And then he added that I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. There was a lot there. So you can go and then talk about a lot. Then MTG fired back with screenshots of text messages that she claims where she claims that Trump is lying and that she did not call him, also saying that it is astonishing, really, how hard he is fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out. She argued that she has been one of Trump's strongest supporters, but that she doesn't, quote, worship or serve Donald Trump. On top of unendorsing, he actually said that he would support anyone who would be primarying her in the upcoming election. Who wants to take this one on?
Well, I can tell you that is not unusual in politics. Political romances are often short-lived. And
You touched on this last stream. One of the big stories of 2016, 2027, and 2028 is that many Republicans do want to start quietly moving on from Trump and how successful Trump's attempts at controlling primaries will be as a lame duck. Yeah. He is a galvanizing force, unfortunately, for the Republicans. Establishment Republicans haven't stopped hating Donald Trump. Okay. The only times where they forget about their hatred for Donald Trump is when Donald Trump delivers on deregulation and also tax cuts for the super wealthy. But they still see Donald Trump as an uncontrollable force. That's the reason why they tried to pull the Ron DeSantis exit ramp. But it was a spectacular failure. So we don't know how that will look.
Critical of him not only about the Epstein files, but about his involvement in foreign affairs, and I don't mean with women. I mean in various parts of the world. And,
you said it, no.
Just to clear the table on that one. and so it's not surprising that they have had a breakup of sorts. After all, he didn't give her a ring. He just supported her for a little while.
Listen, this fire is spreading. I mean, right? It started off talking about Epstein in the beginning. Then during the shutdown, she was one of the few Republicans that correctly identified Donald Trump's unwillingness to deal with the ACA subsidies and lower healthcare costs for Americans as being one of the reasons why the shutdown occurred.
Yeah, she was very...
Liberals love a former Republican. I guess just as much as Republicans love a former Democrat. Not to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a former Republican. I think she's still very much invested in being a Republican. Maybe even more right-wing than Donald Trump is. But you will see liberals I feel like it's already started, but like liberals are gushing over Marjorie Taylor Greene here. I mean, for me, it's strategic, right? I don't have an issue with hyping up what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing currently because I think it's beneficial. I think it's good when the Republicans are fighting. But I do fear that liberals might take it a step further.
Talking about that.
Now she's talking about foreign policy. This is not going away. Whatever's going on between them seems to only be heating up, and I think the rest of us should get the popcorn.
I think
They're here for it.
And a war with words, sorry, Scott, a war with words with Donald Trump is such a risky business that I cannot believe she has the bravery to engage in it, because even if she was right, she's still going to lose.
Is there an example of anyone beating Donald Trump at this game?
Never. This is his game, and he's great at it. And she's barking up a tree that she's going to fall on her really hard.
You know, it's interesting. He has some people who profess to be strong supporters who do oppose him more often than the people that you might not think are his strongest supporters. She's one of them. Thomas Massie in Kentucky is another one. Rand Paul, my home state senator, he takes on Trump, although they profess to be Trump supporters. In this case, I think he had the order out of order. I trace all this back to his decision, the righteous decision to strike Iran. She was against it. So were some of the people who occupied.
Yeah, of course, Scott Jennings loves Donald Trump's righteous decision to strike Iran. He's a pro-Israel stooge. I think it's an interesting phenomenon that we're experiencing because Marjorie Taylor Greene is not actually opposing Donald Trump from the left flank. Well, I guess kind of. But she is, like, she's saying she's true to the America First principles that Donald Trump initially ran on. You know, helping the American working class, isolationism as a foreign policy. Like, these are the things that Donald Trump initially ran on. These are the things that a lot of people like Donald Trump for. So, and there's a lot of people who are anti-Israel. So she's leaning into that crowd. Of course, none of these people on the media side are anti-Israel, make no mistake. But that's what's going on here.
That wing of the party, he defied them. And since that time, they all seem to be stridently picking at him on this issue or that. And then, of course, everybody knows in Washington, Miles, you know, the fastest way to get in front of a television camera if you're a Republican is to come out and crap on Donald Trump. And so that is what she is doing.
But you know, Scott,
that is what she is doing.
I trace it back further than that, Scott.
Over these issues, and that's what happened.
Scott, I trace it further back than that. I trace it back to 10 years ago when you said Donald Trump was an authoritarian. And you know what, Scott, I've got to hand it to you. That was a remarkable forecast because 10 years later, I think you called it. Here's Donald Trump today, the man with the heart and soul of a fascist, showing us he now has the bona fides. By tonight, ordering investigations into American citizens. That's why members of his party, that's why members of his
he's running the executive against him. Why are you so upset he's running the executive branch?
For the same reasons you predicted he shouldn't. For the same reasons, Scott, you said he violated his oath and he should never be back in that office.
I happily voted
That's why I'm upset for the man being in the Oval Office.
I happily voted for him 3 times.
I know that.
The alternative was terrible.
And a lot of your friends were shocked.
Yeah, well, a lot of my friends would have been shocked at you trying to subvert the elected president of the United States, which you did.
Well, I proudly did. I proudly
Some
said
mid-level
to the
staffer
country
substituting his judgment for the elected president of the United States.
Well, Scott, I would have loved to have seen you stand up to it.
Good luck.
Back to MTG.
I don't even know what's going on. It's just like they're infighting because it's all right wingers on the panel. It's like rhinos versus former rhinos, now pro-Trump, and they're just like fighting each other. I guess this is what happens when you're too successful. Right wingers are so successful at like doing political violence that they end up doing it to themselves, as we've seen many times over. And I guess the same thing goes for right wingers on this Trump stuff, where it's like, we've already so thoroughly dominated the left flank, or not left flank necessarily, but like the Democrats, that it's time to fight amongst ourselves. It's awesome. Pascal Emmanuel Gabri says, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an example of the promise of and peril of populism. She's a good person, a mom who loves her country. She was a better congressperson than an empty suit would have been in her place. But she's also clearly not very bright, extremely gullible, and emotionally incontinent. And ultimately, doesn't have the skills to produce any real political wins or policy outcomes that can actually make a difference to the people she wants to represent. Sad. Yeah. As in, I liked it better when she was screaming about Rothschild space lasers instead of actual abuses by powerful people. Both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens has said actually anti-Semitic shit, and they have been defended by the Republicans until they became anti-Israel. Republicans, for the longest time, and this also is, conservative Jews who are Republican as well, have also abided by this principle that it doesn't matter if you are an anti-Semite as long as you're pro-Israel, right? That was the method. Their anti-Semitism was not a deal breaker until they became anti-Israel. If you can't recognize that, I don't know what to tell you. Ben Shapiro quite literally has openly stated this when defending Ann Coulter, when she said anti-Semitic shit way back in the day. Not only that, but also Ben Shapiro hired Candace Owens, even though he knew very well that she was also anti-Semitic. Ben Shapiro fired Candace Owens when Candace Owens, the perfect room reader, decided to turn on Israel. She used to have many pro-Israel tweets back in the day, but when she became anti-Israel, that's when it was a bridge too far.
Is it the sign of a changing tide? Is it the sign, or is it a singular one back and forth between one Republican who is getting into a fight with Donald Trump? Or do you think there is a possibility that it is
not
the beginnings of Republicans seeing past the Donald Trump era?
The short answer is that we don't know.
Because you've got like Thomas Massey saying exactly that. Like your vote on this discharge petition is going to outlast Donald Trump's time here. So you need to consider that when you make your decision.
But if we keep paying attention, what we see is that last week, the president got his clock clean in an election. All the Republicans got their clock clean in an election. This week, we see what's happening with the Epstein files. So next week, we're going to see them take a vote. And if we see a bunch of Republicans defect on the Epstein files, I think what we're seeing is the real testing of the waters to find out whether or not you can oppose Donald Trump and still get elected. When we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, the one thing we haven't talked about yet is her fundraising prowess. And according to sources, she is the most popular fundraiser in the Republican Party other than Donald Trump.
Yeah, they got their cock cleaned by Donald Trump, like Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton got his cock cleaned by Donald Trump.
This prediction about no one's going to care about this.
I was asking it a question. I wasn't predicting it.
No, you said people were. Somebody said that this was going to outlive.
Tom Massey.
The prediction that this was going to outlive. I totally disagree with that. I think right now more people are worried about whether they can watch ESPN on YouTube TV tomorrow than they care about this, and that's certainly going to be true in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years from today.
Hold on,
but what they do care about, they
did not get their clocks cleaned last week.
They do care about the fact the president is sort of breaking everything. Right? They see a hole in the White House, right?
It's obvious what the Democrats need to do. They need to get together and, in the interest of bipartisanship, not reveal the Jeffrey Epstein files. Make a commitment that they're not going to reveal the Epstein files because, things are going too good for the Dems again, okay? And not because of what they've been doing, but ironically because of what the Republicans have been doing. Democrats, do the right thing as always. Democrats, do the right thing. Stop with this. Stop with this partisan gamesmanship. Do the right thing for the country. Defend Donald Trump. Chuck Schumer's going to come out and be like, who amongst us hasn't sucked off Bill Clinton? Really? That was a moment of unique bipartisanship from the president, and we must go back to a strong Republican Party. Do not speak that into existence. Last time I made this sort of joke, it ended up becoming reality with the shutdown ending. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Massey, and Rand Paul are the only Republicans actually standing up to Trump, yet are never praised by the people who can't ever shut the fuck up about good Republicans. Confirms that bit was all just about building a political mandate for interventionist foreign policy. I don't know who this person is talking about, but I do think that there are Republicans who like that Thomas Massey standing up to Trump.
No, I was in Detroit last weekend for an event, and it was the number one thing people came up to me at the scholarship dinner to ask about. Is it okay for the president to tear down the White House without anybody's permission?
That was the number one thing?
That was the number one thing that people brought up unprovoked.
The I keep hearing this over and over again. Is like, no one cares about this because they only care about that. We've talked
about. They can't buy a house.
That they can't. They care about
houses
affordability.
Unaffordable, and that food costs too much. Yeah. But they don't care about the White House. The fact is, a president who can't model the White House.
Many people care about the White House.
That's ridiculous.
Many Americans care about the White House. You don't care about the White House.
Can't remodel a room in the White House.
He tore it down. He tore it down.
Obama keeps name-dropping Bill Clinton. He is no Bill Clinton. Okay, well, this confirms he didn't suck off Obama, for all we know. Obama is clear from the suck. I think one of the funniest parts about this back and forth has also been the Trump administration trying to do counter-narrative propaganda on this issue. And they're just like posting Donald Trump with little children to be like, see? He can be around children without having sex with them. Or even this post, I can't help falling in love with you. He's like, no, see, Donald Trump actually loves his adult female wife. Yeah, this really This really made us believe it, man. If anything, like I said, so he did suck him off. If anything, this looks too much like he's compensating for something. I don't know, man. Maybe he hates, what if he hates Obama because Obama wouldn't let him suck his dick? Oh, that could be another reason.
In the middle of a
I couldn't
government
tear down my
shutdown.
garage without getting a permit from the city.
And that's
He can
only
tear it down.
regulation.
But let me ask you this. People don't have jobs.
And without Manchin and Sinema, they would have done it the last
Would you
time.
be open to endorsing someone primarying Marjorie Taylor Greene given her latest statements?
Well, it depends on who runs against her. I mean, I'm no longer much of a fan because I disagree with her policy. When she said that, you know, going to foreign countries, bringing back trillions of dollars is not important. Do you think I want to go and be on an airplane for 20 hours? Some of you were with me. 22 hours to be exact, travel and then get off and make a speech and get people to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in our country. I'd rather do it without having to go, but if you didn't go, you wouldn't be able to have that kind of result. As an example, Malaysia, if you look at Thailand, I stopped a war in Thailand and Cambodia. If I didn't go to that region, I probably wouldn't have been able to stop that war. That war would have been very costly in terms of lives, but even costly in terms of us.
Are you meeting with Indiana?
Think about it.
On Epstein, sir, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, was on CBS News. She was talking about how the files should be released. We anticipate that a vote will happen in the House. I know you wrote about the investigation today.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. You're going to have to look into his friends because, you know, if they're going to do that, and I think the perfect guy to do it would be Southern District, somebody like Jay Clayton. I understand that's who's been assigned.
But does the congresswoman have a point, though?
Does Marjorie Taylor Greene have a point?
Does she have a point, though?
I know nothing about her.
On the release of the files. All the files.
Well, she can.
I know nothing about her. That's crazy. I know nothing about her. Who is that woman? She's dead to me. All of a sudden, fake friend, don't know her.
They can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already. Look, this is a Democrat hoax. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective. But this is a Democrat hoax to get away from the fact that they just lost the shutdown and they've lost the elections. They've lost the big election, to me, in a record number. They lost the popular vote. They lost the swing states. They lost everything. I think it was 312 to 220 something. So this is a way of...
This is absolutely the worst time for Donald Trump. His popularity is waning. The affordability crisis is coming back to bite him in the ass. He's weak. He's ineffective. His base is actually frustrated with him. That's the reason why they're talking about like the traveling stuff. Because he knows that that's another reason why Republicans are mad. Because they're like, bro, why are you constantly in like Asia and shit? Come back home and fix the goddamn prices of food. Fix the grocery prices. I can't believe it, dude. 11 months, and here we are.
Not talking about that. It's a hoax. This is no different than Russia, Russia, Russia. And it's headed up by Democrats and some very weak Republicans.
I was just wondering if you have a timeline.
Very few.
Timeline for when you might release more of those files. Can it be
Which ones? Which
Democrats to Epstein.
Well, I don't know about those files. I know nothing about it. But I understand they released like 40 or 50,000 pages already. And nobody knows. I will say this. If they had anything, they would have used it before the election. Okay? I can't tell you what they put in since the election. But if they had anything, you don't think they would have used it before the election? They would have gladly used it before the election.
Mr. President.
I think so.
Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? Can you turn that down, please? Too much. Too much, okay?
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know who that is, Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years, but he also saw strength because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Go ahead.
Incriminating in the file,
On
sir.
Venezuela,
Why
sir.
not act? Why are you acting as if?
Quiet, McGee.
On
Go ahead.
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what your next steps will be, but can you say, have you made up your mind on what?
Mr. President, could you tell us why you needed to get an MRI? I understand that the results were good, but what was it for?
Because it's part of my physical. Getting an MRI is very standard. Well, you think I shouldn't have it? Other people get it.
Typically, an MRI
I had
is
an
some
MRI.
specific part of your body.
Here's what the story is. I had an MRI. The doctor said it was the best result he has ever seen as a doctor. That's it. But I had an MRI as part of my standard yearly, or I think they do it every 2 years, but I have the physical every year. And the result was outstanding.
Was it your brain?
Did you know? I have no idea what they analyzed, but whatever they analyzed it well.
You don't know what they analyzed? Brother, you did an MRI. That is probably one of the more ridiculous things he said. Like, yeah, you just got an MRI for the funsies? Like, they're just looking into your brain for the funsies. That's not like a normal procedure that one does for fun. And you didn't even ask? Like, even if the MRI was for normal, you know, like a normal physical, let's say that the MRI is a normal part of the physical. What do you mean you're not going to ask what the results are? It is, man? No, what do you mean? Even if I am to entertain the notion that for the president, the standards are different, you're not going to ask? Of course he asked. Why is he not telling us what the results look like? That's the real question.
And they said that I had as good a result as they've ever seen. Now, the other thing I took, as you know, very advanced test on mental acuity, because I think a president should have to do that. And as you probably heard, I aced it.
I aced it. I aced my mental acuity test. I called it out. Woman, man, camera, TV. Rhinoceros, giraffe. I called it all. It was so perfect. I have 5 or 6 MRIs because of my bag, and believe me, you can feel the magnets bouncing off the area they're looking at. I mean, let's say, I guess he did like... My point was, if you get an MRI, you're going to want to know what the reasons for that MRI is and what the results of that MRI looks like. And if the results were clear, he would have probably said it out loud. That's my point.